great disturbance in the Force.
Star Wars Darth Vader 001, beginning immediately after the events of Revenge of the Sith. Anakin, as Vader, has awoken, but he's no longer whole. He is now encased within the armor that will become his personal prison for the rest of his natural life. Anakin Skywalker is dead. Darth Vader lives. Now, the comic resumed the storyline after he moaned and shouted his much berated "No" line. Vader then picked up Palpatine with the Force, hurled him across the room just like one of the medical droids tending to his recovery. His master was most displeased. Now, to begin, the dialogue here was brilliant. The comic conveyed a banter that far surpassed any of the screenwriting for the Revenge of the Sith film. Now, Darth Sidious told his apprentice, "Padme is dead, my friend. Even the power of the dark side cannot bring her back. But in her death, she has given you a gift." Palpatine then very frankly told Vader that he can choose to accept the gift and use it to become stronger or die in mourning. Vader chose to live. Then Darth Sidious provided a practical demonstration of his superior mastery of the dark side. He unleashed his Force lightning upon Vader. The mechanical conductor that became his entire being only intensified the lightning strikes. Now, Palpatine made it clear to Vader that he will never, ever touch him with the Force in anger again. This is what I imagine will be the first of many demonstrations of Sith superiority. The relationship between a master and apprentice is obviously complicated. They're simultaneously friends and foes. Now, the apprentice must learn from the master, while the master is careful in what they teach and when. If they teach too much too quickly, the apprentice may feel the master has outlived his or her usefulness. So at this point, Palpatine appeared to still be playing the role of a friend and advisor as he did to Anakin in Episode 3. However, there is a small break in his decorum. Now, he showed the first glimpse of his true face, which Anakin will soon come to see in full. Palpatine ignited the same lightsaber he used to kill Yoda, only this time he had it at Vader's throat. Defeat Yoda, not kill him. Now, he asked Vader, "Where is your lightsaber?" Of course, Vader lost his Jedi saber on Mustafar during his crippling duel with Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is without the traditional weapon of the Jedi or their counterparts, the Sith. Now, the origins of Vader's red lightsaber will be explored, much to the excitement of many fans and saber fans like myself. Now, meanwhile, at the foot of the former Jedi Temple, the new banners for the Empire had already been erected. Their red and black motifs were clearly meant to harken back to the rise of the Third Reich in Germany. Now, the Jedi are being blamed as the scapegoats for the entire Clone Wars and the assassination attempt on dear leader Sheev Palpatine. Then comes the controversial moment of the issue. The Sith lightsabers are defined by their bloodshine blade colors. Now, in the past, this was explained as the crystals being synthesized as opposed to the organic crystals employed by the Jedi Order. Now, in the past, I found that to be a satisfying explanation. It explained the Jedi's attempt to work in harmony with the living force. The Sith, however, attempted to use the Force to exert their own will. Now, this, above all else, was the nature of the dark side. In the Book of Sith section on lightsaber construction, It read, "The Jedi also carry lightsabers. They harvest their lightsaber crystals from a mine. The Sith, however, have long had a superior alternative. Raw elements cooked in a brood furnace will produce an artificial crystal, one that can generate an energy blade that will burn with a crimson light." Now, after the Ahsoka novel, the canon changed. We learned that a kyber crystal's color can be influenced by the Force affiliation of the wielder. Now, Palpatine stated in this issue that, "As you know, the kybers are alive in their way. Like any living thing, they can feel pain. Through the dark side, you must pour your pain into the crystal, and when at last the agony becomes more than it can stand, a beautiful crimson, the color of your rage." Now, fans of the Clone Wars cartoon may recall the episode The Gathering. It featured young Jedi Padawans sent to harvest kyber crystals from the ice caves of the frozen planet Ilum. The process was a coming of age for all the Jedi, and we have known since the original trilogy that constructing a lightsaber is very important for all Jedi. Vader said so himself when he told Luke that his skills were complete when he examined his son's emerald blade. Now, Vader is going on the equivalent of a Sith gathering. Vader remarked that Palpatine could have given him any one of the lightsabers of the fallen Jedi, including the one that belonged to Master Yoda. However, the lightsabers were all gathered and incinerated. Vader understood the reason. He said, "The saber of a Sith is not given, it is taken." Well, then Palpatine sent Vader on a mission. He has many plans for the Dark Lord, but first he says he will need his lightsaber. Now, this struck me as odd that Palpatine would send Vader to take a crystal. Vader had just slaughtered an entire temple full of Jedi. One of the most prominent ones that came to my mind from the temple slaughter was Sin Dralig. Now, Dralig, played by Nick Gilliard, the movie's fencing master, was the lightsaber instructor for all the Jedi. He was nicknamed the Troll by members of the Jedi Order, and he had been a highly respected master for years by the time of Episode III. But then the newly minted Darth Vader cut him down during the temple raid. Now, this would seem to me like it would fit the requirement that the saber be taken, because Dralig certainly didn't give it up willingly. And on that note, have all the Sith been taking the Jedi's kyber crystals since Darth Bane began this rule of two? The Sith were believed to be extinct for a millennia by the time Maul revealed himself on Tatooine. Now, I would think the Order might notice over the last 1,000 years that Jedi were periodically coming up dead or missing, and all had their lightsaber crystals missing too. This also raised the question of who Palpatine took his crystals from. He had 2 sabers. But Vader ended the issue on a planet in search of what I assume to be surviving Jedi. He has no lightsaber, but the Force is still with him. He's also not used to his armor yet. Now, the Legends novel of Dark Lord, it took place during this exact same period of time. Now, in this novel, Vader mentioned the agony and the frustration in getting used to his new armor. He acknowledged he was much weaker than he had been before, though by the end of the story he regained full use of the Force, if not his mobility. Now, this story may or may not have the same learning curve for Vader in the armor. Vader tells the Emperor in the issue that he found his armor to be adequate. However, we all know that Vader is a tech geek at heart. I imagine he will be working and tweaking himself just like a starfighter or a pod racer, most likely for the rest of his natural life. Now, as I neared the end of the issue, the burning question in my mind was, which Jedi will he encounter on this planet? It would have to be a survivor of Order 66. Some have suggested, including George Lucas, that Mace Windu actually survived his fall out the window of Palpatine's office the night Anakin became Vader. If so, that would be a true challenge to Vader, especially after the traumatic ordeal on Mustafar. I'm going to place a bet. I think that the Jedi Vader is going to meet is one that we've seen die many times. The death, however, has never managed to stick. The Jedi Master Shaak-Ti was originally filmed to die at the many hands of General Grievous in Episode 3, but those scenes were cut. She was then placed in the Force Unleashed video games as a boss for Starkiller to hunt down and kill, but now that game has been clearly labeled as Legends. So Shaak-Ti may live again, and she would be a good test for the new Dark Lord's skills. She was known as one of the wildest, unpredictable, and skilled Jedi of the Order, and she's also overdue for a death. Well, the issue ended with Vader finding some thieves that stole his custom starfighter. It looked like the Jedi starfighters from Episode 3. I imagine it'll be rechristened shortly. And these ship thieves truly picked the wrong pilot to jack that day, as Vader began to unleash the full fury of the Force upon them and left us all highly anticipating the next issue in search for his new red saber. So, what did you think about Darth Vader 1? Tweet me your thoughts at jsandlinwriter. Check me out at www.jsandlinwriter.com. And my book, Outbreak Mutiny, Alternate History with Superheroes, is available on Amazon now.
Big disturbance in Force. Force is strong.